Good morning. Hello from wherever you're joining us from to the today's webinar, Eliminating Campus Blind Spots, Proactive Protection. And this is with Salient and Triton. So as an introduction, my name is Dan Berg, Senior Product Manager for Integrations here at Salient Systems. And I'd like to welcome Garrison Parthmore. Garrison?
Thanks, Dan. Honored to be here. Garrison Parthmore. I'm one of the co-founders here at Triton, and I lead a lot of the efforts on the sales and support, and a little bit on the operations side. I'm excited to be speaking with everyone today.
Great. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. So the session is being recorded, and you'll be provided a link afterward. So if you have to drop off, we hope you don't, but if you have to drop off, you can review it later. If you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A panel. At any time, we'll address them during the webinar if we can. Otherwise, we'll do it right at the end in the Q&A segment. And also include any contact information you want in that message if you want to be reached out and contacted later. All right. So let's go. All right, Garrison, I'm going to let you kick off.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks everyone so much for joining today. We're going to break down the agenda really simply from 1 to 5. Just start the introduction of we call it the hidden campus, which is the kind of area of focus for today. Then we'll be talking about how Triton and Salient work together to create what we hope is an effective solution. Then Dan's going to kick off with an awesome demo, and we'll do a Q&A at the end for anyone who has any hot topic questions. Keep them for the end, and we'll be able to answer them for you.
Great. All right.
And if you're not familiar with Triton at all, it's a company started about 6 years ago by me and my brother Lance, who's there on the right-hand side. A lot of people think we're the same person. And then Jack, our third co-founder. Jack and I were juniors in high school, and Lance is a senior. We're from Central Pennsylvania. And we started this like a high school STEM club project where we entered a competition to help solve a problem facing Pennsylvanians. And the problem we took up was vaping because we had a lot of good friends that kind of got picked up on a bad habit, and we kind of saw their lives change as a result. And when the kind of world shut down for the pandemic, we decided to turn that project into a business. And as they say, the rest is history. Now we have sensors like this installed in over 1,000 districts all over the country, all 50 states, as well as over 20 countries throughout the world. Something we take to heart is we're customer obsessed and mission driven. So being a high school STEM club that turned into a multi national company, we started with a mission in mind, and we continue that. Just make schools a safer place. We're very proud to be the sensor of choice for the number 1 and 2 largest districts in the U.S. K-12 is our primary market, but also do things in higher education, retail, healthcare, etc. And we're excited to be talking about how we're making private places safer today.
Yeah, that's a great story. I love hearing it every time.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, Salient Systems. So we're a VMS vendor. We've been in the business about 25 years or more, I think, actually. It's an open architecture video management platform. Open architecture being that we can integrate a lot of different systems, third-party sensors, like the Triton sensor. And we support pretty much every camera out there. We can scale to an enormous size. Our largest deployment right now is over 40,000 cameras. It's huge. We have a couple other installations that are coming up right behind there. We also offer a hybrid cloud solution as part of this for remote access. With Complete View is the name of our product, and you can really get a low cost of ownership. We have a licensing model that's very simple. All right, it's 1 license per device. That's it. Yeah, there's no client licenses, and we have web, mobile, and desktop clients. So very, very simple on the licensing. We don't license those. It's just 1 device, 1 camera. Even if it's a multi-sensor device, it's still just 1 license. So we're all over the globe. We've got about 200 channel partners out there that are actively selling and deploying Complete View. And we've got over 1 million cameras under management. And we are headquartered here in Austin, Texas, which is where our tech support is. And our tech support is the best in business. And I will hang my hat on that because I've been in this industry over 30 years, 35 years. And I've dealt with a lot of tech support groups. I've been in tech support, and these guys here are really just top notch. Gotta love them.
Yeah, that's a huge value add. Great work, Dan. But yeah, just to kick things off, I want to talk about the idea of what I call the hidden campus. So I have there a quick like blueprint of a school, like a pretty common looking school. And what you'll notice is about 25% of that floor plan is private areas, as we call it, the hidden part of the campus. That's bathrooms, change rooms, locker rooms, etc. And while only 25% of a floor plan might be covered by these areas, we see about 80% of the 80% of bad behaviors happen in these private areas. So that's like about 3 times from square footage to behavioral problems. So like, why is 3% is bad behavior 3 times as likely to happen here? It's simple. Kids are smart. They know that these are like tough places to monitor, and they know that they're more likely to get away with bad behavior here. So it becomes just a magnet for bad behavior. I'm not gonna get in a fight or assault someone or vandalize something out in the middle of the hallway where a teacher or a camera is going to see me. I'm going to go somewhere like a bathroom or a change room where there's basically no way to monitor except through what we hope to show you today in our solution between us and Salient, but also through more physical means. And so right now, pretty much the go to the status quo for what schools are doing is using staff to pretty much do rounds. And kids know this, they know that staff are doing these rounds. So we often see is that these blind spots where school or what schools do is they have SROs and other staff. They basically do rounds, but what ends up happening is that it's like a right place, wrong time situation where only about 5% of incidents are actually caught. And it's just simple math. There's one SRO, one staff member versus hundreds of students. And some SROs will do this in like a random circuit. Maybe they're walking the halls, at random times throughout the day. They'll pop in. Others will do it, every hour on the hour. They'll do these checks. But the problem is that just one person can only be in one place at a time, and often at the wrong time. What we end up seeing is that only like 5% of these instances are caught. It's just because kids are smart, and usually the 5% that are caught are just the non-slick students that don't know how to not create too much commotion. So like, what happens with the other like 95% instances, the 5%, the 95 that aren't caught? Some will obviously be just the school will be none the wiser, the staff will never hear of it. The other percentage, what ends up happening is maybe they'll hear through the grapevine, so-and-so said so-and-so, who then told a teacher, who then told the principal, and then the SRO or the principal has to go and spend the rest of their day actually investigating it, checking camera footage, interviewing students. It becomes a massive headache for what was a 3 to 5 minute incident, ends up taking a staff member's whole day up. And while their whole day was taken up, maybe 2 other instances happened again. So it pretty becomes a game of whack-a-mole.
Right. Back in my day in high school, we had a designated smoking area. Don't see that anymore. But yeah, no, your points are exactly right. You can only be, an SRO or a staff member can only be in one place at one time. Right. And so it's just the luck of the draw if they're going to catch somebody or not. So it's really, you need something that's always going to be on, right? Always looking for vaping or smoking or anything like that.
And what a lot of schools end up doing, about 40% of schools in the US, and it's like super logical. If you think about it, if you have less bathrooms to monitor, you can spend more time monitoring each one of them, and you'll be more likely, and kids will be less likely to do these things because they realize, hey, they're doing these rounds more quickly. And this does definitely help to an extent. We see the success rate usually rise from like about 5% to 15%, which is a 3x increase, which sounds great on paper, but in reality it might end up creating more work and trouble than it's worth. And that's because of like 3 major pain points. And the first one is just an acknowledgement of a loss of control. It's kind of like a sign of retreat, and might even encourages students to act out more. It's kind of like a morale boost, like, hey, we got them, so to speak. But honestly, like the biggest one is usually just pushback from teachers or from parents and students. Because, for instance, like when I was in high school not that long ago, our school, we had 6 boys' bathrooms and they closed all 5 of them because kids were vandalizing, all of them, and it was too hard to monitor. So what ended up
So
happening
one
is,
bathroom for all of the boys?
yeah,
That's
and there's
incredible.
about 750 kids at my school, so let's say half of those were boys. So it's like one boys' bathroom for 300 and some kids. Is pretty crazy. But and even they had, there was like a teacher, she would sit outside, you have to sign in and everything. And I think they only allowed like 2 or 3 students in the bathroom at a time. So there'd be like a long line of boys waiting to go to the bathroom because 370 some kids, one bathroom, just kind of what happens.
Yeah,
Um,
that's incredible. Because I mean, thinking about it, yeah, a line, but how are you ever going to be able to go to the bathroom in between classes? I mean,
yeah,
it would be
it's
impossible.
impossible. Yep, that's exactly right. And it created like a huge, huge problem. Parents were unhappy sending, nasty notes in. Students were unhappy because they just want to go to the bathroom. I even remember one of our classmates like bringing something up. It was like a building law here in Pennsylvania. I'm sure it's other places too, where it requires, for every X number of people, let's say it's 100 people, there has to be at least one bathroom. So technically it was illegal, I guess.
Yeah,
But
it
I
definitely
think
didn't meet building codes and safety, safety regulations in terms of occupancy and all that.
absolutely. But honestly, like I think the biggest problem with kind of this strategy is just crowds the remaining bathrooms. Um, yeah,
Yeah, and when there's crowds, there's problems.
exactly. Yeah, in fact, we see crowding as kind of the number one indicator of bad behavior. So when you do, let's say, close 50% of those bathrooms, you're not just eliminating 50% of the problems, you're just moving that 50% to another area. So it doubles the density in those remaining bathrooms. And kind of the perfect equation we see for bad behavior is high density of people plus a private space like a bathroom equals trouble. And for whatever reason, kind of the magic number is anytime occupancy goes above 4, the probability of a bad behavior happening jumps by about 3.5 times. And it just makes sense, kind of naturally as humans, like we're kind of performers by nature. So if we have, if there's no one there to kind of egg us on, we're a lot less likely to do something bad. That's why 90% of bathroom vandalism happens when there's a group of people versus individually. Like a normal person doesn't walk into a bathroom and be like, hey, I want to tear the soap dispenser off the wall. But if there's someone to egg them on or someone to give them cover, that's when things happen.
Right, I can then see that with the overcrowding, you know, people occupying stalls, somebody's beating on that door, and that can really spark some incidents and altercations.
Absolutely. And just to give a little like background, like all these problems are happening in the wake of like shifting landscapes for schools. Let's say 10 years ago, they were expecting populations to just continue an increase in terms of enrollment. But what's ended up happening, they'd say, oh, if we're having these problems, let's hire additional staff. Our budget's going to go up with increased enrollment. But what has ended up happening ever since the pandemic is that with new school choice legislation, with the populations moving from more urban to more suburban areas, a lot of districts are actually seeing enrollment declines for the first time in a long time, or even the first time ever, which ends up meaning less money for schools, less money for budgets, and obviously less money for staff. So increasingly, schools are having to get more creative and use things like technology to kind of fill those gaps and be more efficient. And yeah,
Gotcha. All right.
and that's pretty much what inspired me and my co-founders to start Triton. We started 6 years ago. We made sensors for vaping, and that's still part of what we do. And if anyone asks what we do, I tell them we're professional narcs because we're very, very good at picking up on vaping in school bathrooms. But it's honestly, I think the other features that we offer are honestly a lot more interesting, and I think a lot more helpful for customers. And there's some really cool features built into the device, but there's about 30 individual metrics, but we break it down into 3 main categories: drugs, safety, and occupancy. So I mentioned the drug piece. We're good at catching vape, marijuana, stuff like that. But really what I focus on is the safety and then the behavior side of the device. So especially on the occupancy side, we mentioned, anytime occupancy goes above, let's say 4, the odds of a bad behavior happening increase by about 3.5 times. So with the sensor, we're able to use radar to count like how many people are in the room, where they're at in the room, and how long they've been there. And you can kind of see some cool, videos kind of showcasing that. And you'll see every person is represented as a green little dot to start with. And, it's a completely privacy compliant technology with the radar. So we're able to pick up on the person, but not able to, let's say, identify them because we don't collect any person identifiable information. But what we do tell you is how long each person's been there. So each person is like color coded. So their dot will go from green to orange to red. So you can get an alert for overcrowding, which is like the number one indicator of bad behavior. But also if someone's spending too long in the restroom, let's say they're cutting class, something like that, a medical emergency, etc. And then the last component is just the safety component, picking up on fights, bullying, vandalism, etc., all within one little sensor. And the best way to see that and to monitor that and view it and everything like that, this can all be viewed in real time, but also recorded is through Complete View. And Dan will talk more about that now.
Yeah, thanks. Now you can also do like gunshot and glass break detection as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So really, I mean, it's a very versatile sensor. I mean, it does so much. It even does humidity, temperature. Oh yeah, cell phone detection. Forgot to mention that. A lot of districts are going, banning cell phones. So you want to speak to that for a moment?
Yeah, happy to. Yeah, a majority of all states now have put some type of cell phone, policy in place, and it's simple. It's just kids aren't paying as much attention in class if if they're scrolling on TikTok, but also because we see a lot of fights are happen because people want to post on TikTok and get famous for it. So to kind of help with both these problems, schools have put a phone-free policy in place. Texas, California, Florida, Pennsylvania, many other states throughout the country have a phone-free or phone-limited policies. And you can't bring a phone to school. Maybe have to put a locker or a pouch or something like that. But again, kids are smart. They look for ways around these things. So they might turn in their grandma's iPhone 4 and then using their iPhone 17, hiding it in a private spot on their body, and then going to the bathroom and using it there where no one can see them. But with our sensors, we're able to pick up on that to enforce that policy.
Yeah, it's a very cool feature. Very cool. All right. Yeah, and kids are very smart. In a previous life, I had a customer who was a school district out in Southern California, and they made the error of putting all the cameras on the general network. So they were having to blanket change the passwords on all of their cameras once a week. Because the kids are sitting there. Oh, yeah, okay. Just hacking right into them. All right, so Salient fits in here. The sensors do a great job of detecting all the stuff that Garrison was just talking about. And what we do is we record that information. So the sensors produce a dashboard, all right? And you see it there in the top image that on the left side there. That's the dashboard video that we're actually getting from the sensor. So in Complete View, we record it just like a camera, all right? And so that way it's a unified system. You've got your cameras that are, protecting students and staff throughout the campus. And then you have the sensors, and they're all in the same pane of glass, all right? That single pane of glass that everybody loves to be able to do. So it really just brings it all together. Our Complete View is very event driven. So when you have an alert on a sensor, all right, you're going to get a pop-up and alarm view of that sensor dashboard, as well as any associated cameras. So you could have a camera outside the bathroom in the hallway, and then the sensor in the hallway, or in the bathroom, excuse me, in the bathroom. So when it detects something, be that vaping or smoking or aggression, fights, something like that, it sends an alert to Complete View. Both cameras enter into alarm recording, both devices. And then you have synchronized video of somebody coming out of the bathroom right after the alert, right? And so you've got them, right? It's not a case of, no, it was somebody else. He was in there, he was in there with me, or she was in there with me. It eliminates that type of nonsense. So it's really a great combination with the sensors and complete view. It allows you to quickly, look for those alerts if you're doing some, investigation. And also, you can also use as a report function actually to look at, okay, how many times did I get a vape alert in this bathroom, right, versus another bathroom, right? And that way I can target specific bathrooms or locations, locker rooms, where I can, focus some more, maybe have the SRO stationed there or checking more frequently. It allows you to do that because the sensor actually reports each event separately. So it'll say vaping detected or smoke detected or gunshot or aggression, or even keywords. You can program in keywords, right, Garrison?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, any word or phrase you want, English, Spanish, French, which is pretty cool. So you can do Dan is the best or I love Salient, whatever you want.
All right, let's do a little demo here. Set that up. All right. So, okay, so the sensor is added using an RTSP stream. Very simple, very easy to add it as a device in complete view. And then on the integration side, so this is the web interface of the Triton sensor. And there's just a few lines of code that you have to drop in. We've got a manual on our website that tells you how to do it. It's really copy and paste, very simple, very easy. And when you look at the interface there's a lot of information that you can include as part of the event. By default, we're pulling in the event name, but you could add additional information on there. So number of people that were counted in the bathroom or in the locker room, things of that nature. So it's very easy to integrate the Triton sensors. All right, so real-time monitoring. If you've got somebody that's watching the system, watching cameras, you can get this. So this is our alarm view, okay? And this is where you would get alerts popping up, okay? And also you get a list of events happening and a map of the facility, so you know exactly where that event is coming from. So the alerts are displayed up there in the upper left, and you can have multiple cameras pop up for the same event. So again, I was talking about having a camera, a sensor in the bathroom, and then a camera outside in the hallway. So you get both of them popping up. Again, the map there, it's going to display that where the alert's coming from. And then when you click an event, what happens is you get video displayed, the recorded video on the right that you can play through. Very simple VCR-like controls down here. Okay, and then a live view on the left there, so you can pay attention to what's going on. And right from there, you can export video. So you don't have to go to playback to export video. You can do it right from alarm view. You don't have to switch modules. Now in the export queue, you can actually trim those clips and then actually also encrypt them as well to protect the evidence. All right, so playback, if you're doing an investigation, you hit playback from the home screen or from the menu bar at the top. And then you want to select search video. And you select the server and then the camera and then a date and time. And then you get a list of all the events that occurred during that time on that sensor, on that device. Now, you can also filter it down. So say I want to look for just vaping incidents, right? So I type in vape, right? And that's going to filter down all of the events to show you what's happening. You just click on an event and it's going to play in the window there to the right. Okay, so that was for the Triton sensor. Now, if you want to pull up the video for the associated camera, you just select that camera and then hit search again. And what's nice here is that when you click the event, well, it's actually going to take you to the exact time that you were looking at on the Triton sensor. You don't have to go and find that event again, right? It's just going to be right there on screen. So that's a really nice feature. And on this player, you can actually click on the timeline and drag it back and forth and to scrub video. And you can also zoom in and out on the time scale. So you can get very granular on the time or get the big overall picture. And you can trim and export right from that screen as well. If you want to do multi-camera playback, you're going to select that icon on the menu bar, and you can add cameras just by clicking and dragging from the menu on the left, or use a view or a map, click on those to bring in cameras. And if it's a map that you've got a big map with a lot of cameras on it, we have a nice feature, it's a geo-referencing, geolocation type of thing, where you lasso the cameras that you want to see and then hit display, and it'll pop those cameras into the view. That works in live as well. Right. So you pop in the cameras, you have to select your date that you want to search to, and then you're going to get multiple timelines in the bottom. And again, you can click on the timeline, drag it back and forth to scrub video, play forward, play reverse. You can increase the speed. If you want to, there at this point, you can click on the trim and export. And this is kind of fun here, is you select the cameras, and now I can adjust each camera what time I want exported, what video from the start and stop that I want exported individually for each camera and the sensor as well. So that way I'm not exporting out unnecessary data. It's just the video that I want right there. And it kind of allows you to storyboard your export. So once you've made those adjustments, just hit the check mark, and that'll add it to the export queue. And that's the demo.
Nice. Yeah, and well done. Thank you, Dan. And yeah, so pretty much kind of what we were trying to show through using Triton and Complete View together is that you can basically eliminate blind spots on your campus and help reclaim those bathrooms, the change rooms, the locker rooms. And we might have done a great job kind of explaining it, but hopefully you get the idea that instead of having to do, let's say, manual checks of all these areas, one person going to each one and only catching maybe 5% of incidences, with a sensor and viewing in Complete View, you can see all your bathrooms just like you can all of your cameras, and you can monitor that in real time. So instead of having just one staff member being able to monitor one bathroom at a time, you can view all of them all in one place without having to move. But when an event does happen, let's say there's too many people, if someone's loitering, there's a fight, a keyword, anything like that said, it'll automatically bookmark the footage of an external camera, so you know who's coming and leaving, but also you'll know how many people are there, how long they've been there in the actual room. So if you need backup or support or anything like that, you know exactly what you're walking into, which is great. Even if you don't have the time to check on that problem right away, it's all saved there for you in Complete View, like Dan showed in the demo, which is really cool and should make evidence management a whole lot easier. And with that in mind, the whole idea is to help you, reclaim your campus and create a culture that enables people to use the bathroom when they want to, but also sets a standard that, hey, none of these things are tolerated here. And the impact from using sensors and Complete View is very clear. It helps reduce vandalism, so less broken sinks and mirrors and toilets and everything like that. Vandalism alone is a $1 billion a year problem for schools in the U.S. But also helping people be able to do their jobs better instead of having to do manual checks at bathrooms. They're have more time to educate students, protect the campus, etc. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you found some value in that, and now we have a quick Q&A, unless Dan has anything to add.
Yeah, just wanted to add, it's, we're talking about bathrooms and locker rooms, but it can be used other places. I'm thinking staff, break rooms, counseling areas, right, where you can't really put a camera in because it's, it's a violation of privacy, obviously. But putting in a Triton sensor in those locations, especially a program for keywords, right?
Yeah.
That can help de-escalate or get somebody in to help de-escalate a situation. If they get that alert, there's something occurring that maybe somebody's really upset with the counselor, or there's a fight breaking out in the staff room. I've seen it. You can put them in there as well. In a kind of in a real sense, the Triton sensors add additional senses to Complete View. We're a video system, but with Triton sensor, you're adding smell, right? Being able to detect vaping, smoke, and other particulates. We hear, right? We're not recording anything. We can't actually hear the audio coming from the sensor, but it can alert us when it detects something, audible that's programmed to detect. And even, if you want, if you will, feeling, right? The occupancy sensor, right? Knowing that somebody's there in the bathroom. And that can even be, on that loitering, if somebody's, hiding in the bathroom, or if, God forbid, they've been beaten up and there's, lying in the corner, we can still, if they're, loitering, the sensor is going to, keep track of that and then alert you that there's somebody still in there. So ask us anything.
We got one in the chat. So thank you, Robert. He asked, what's the technology behind the cell phone detection? Is it looking for the presence of MAC addresses? So it is not looking for the presence of MAC addresses. Actually, one thing to note with MAC addresses, most modern cell phones actually change every 10 minutes. So we don't collect any, that's actually considered personally identifiable information. So we don't collect that. We're looking for the Bluetooth signature from someone's cell phone. So, and, a common, thing we get is like, oh, what if you turn off your Bluetooth? Well, actually there's two Bluetooths on most phones, connect to your car or your radio or your headphones or whatever. And then there's one for the Find My and the Android equivalent network. So you can turn off, the one for connecting to your car, but you can't do the other one. That's the one we use. So yeah.
All right. There's a question here about the workflow. What does the workflow look like when the sensor is triggered? How am I alerted? So when the sensor is, detects something, whatever it is, whether that's, vaping or a fight breaking out or occupancy, loitering, and so forth, it sends an alert into complete view. And what we'll do at that point is we create a pop-up in alarm view, right, with an audible tone. We're going to flash the icons on the map to identify where that is, right? So you have some knowledge of where that's at. If you're using our Spotlight application, it's a lightweight desktop application that will pop up video in a floating window when something happens, when that alert comes in, so you can see exactly what's going on at the time. But at the same time, if there's nothing going on, it fades into the background. You can get on with your billion other tasks that staff have to do during the day. And so it does that. And we can also do email notification as well. See, how big of an area does each sensor cover? That's a great question.
Yeah, so each sensor, we recommend about a 12 feet by 12 feet coverage area. So it's about 150 square feet. That's the kind of range of drug detection. But the occupancy works a little bit bigger, about 175 square feet, about 14 by 14, 13 by 13. But even we have customers that place these strategically. So if there's not a possibility of having multiple sensors in a large area, they'll just place one strategically over something like a stall area. So yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much that.
Let's see, you've got another question here. How complicated is the Salient Triton integration setup? It's super easy. Really, we do have a manual guide on our website. Just go to our technology partners and look up Triton there. And it's very simple, very easy. All you have to do is copy and paste, literally. It's a very easy setup.
Yeah, and you could pull in the RTSP stream just like any camera too, which is really cool.
Yes,
So yeah, it should be pretty simple.
Yep.
And Dan has that awesome guide he just showed that I'm sure you can send out too as well if you want to see all the fun things you can do.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Can districts manage multiple cameras from one dashboard? I think they might have referred to multiple sensors. So you also have another way to monitor your sensors, correct?
Yeah, just you mean through the dashboard, like the IP address of the sensor, and then also through you can pull us at a web page into complete view, and then also through the RTSP stream, which is more like the live view. So yeah, you can view as many as you want to your heart's content, which is really cool. And all of them are named and labeled and everything like that to make it easy. And you can even associate a camera with a sensor so that when an event is detected, whether it's vape or loitering or a keyword or anything like that, it'll automatically pop that up to whoever's using the software so they can see it. So yeah.
Great. Next question we have there is, can we add a floor plan view for a specific bathroom? Can I upload a blueprint? Absolutely. It does need to be in a standard image file format, so a PNG or JPEG works best. But yeah, you can absolutely import custom floor plans and blueprints, and then just drop cameras and sensors on there. And then again, when there's a detection alert, those will start flashing. So on a map, you'll see exactly where that detection was.
And with the sensor too, you can like overlay a floor plan, so you know where each person is. Like a common example is like a lot of times, or not a lot of times, but sometimes people will like pass out in a stall. So if you see someone in a stall, you can like overlay that floor plan, see they're in the stall, and then figure out which person is which when you go in the bathroom.
All right. Next question is, have you ever gotten pushback from parents on installing sensors?
Honestly, most parents are very happy because the people that I'd say the problematic students that do the majority of problems are in the minority. So majority of parents just want their kids to be in a healthier and safer environment. So they're thrilled when schools invest in this technology.
Great. All right. A couple more notes here. Don't see any other questions. Do we have any
I see
new ones?
a question about I guess Bonnie answered that one, just about the slide deck and recording.
All right. If you have any questions that we didn't get to, you can still go ahead and post them in the Q&A. We'll answer them after the webinar, but kind of wrap this up. So we can, give us a call or email us to schedule a demo of Complete View. And Garrison, talk about your free end user demo.
Yeah, absolutely. We really believe, seeing is believing. So a lot of customers have, the problems I'm describing with vaping or fighting or loitering or anything like that. And, we want customers to be comfortable with their purchasing decision. So we want you to try before you buy. And, that can help build confidence, in the technology and the solution, also for additional stakeholders. So if you're interested in trying out Sensor, we'll send you one free to try for 30 days. We help with the onboarding and training.
That's awesome. It's truly awesome. All right. If any of you are going to ISC West, it's just around the corner. We're going to be there, Salient, at booth 6089. We're going to be previewing our new enhanced search, where we're utilizing metadata from OnViv Profile M cameras. So you'll be able to search for a person wearing a red shirt, or a car or a truck that's blue or black. So it'll be searching for objects rather than just searching on time, date, and alert. So it's going to be very cool. So come by the booth to get a preview of that. Also, we're going to be having a cocktail hour on Thursday during the show from 3 to 5. And then we've got a cloud security session on Thursday as well, as part of the SIA education series. I'll be on that panel, and that's from 10 to 11 on Thursday, March 26th. And if you want to schedule a meeting, just use that link there. And then Triton's going to be there as well.
Yeah, we won't have a cocktail hour, but we will have me. So you pick.
Yep. I would make a comment about being old enough to drink, Garrison, but no. Yeah, you guys are great. Yeah, like I said, Triton has been awesome to work with over the past couple of years. Just really fantastic company, and wish you even more success.
Thank you, Dan. Right back at you.
And that concludes our webinar. Thanks everybody for attending.
Yeah, thanks everyone for your time.